I'm not sure exactly why, but it brings me joy and it puts a big fat smile on my face when I see other countries, like mainstream media outlets, absolutely just shitting on Justin Trudeau and destroying him and shining a more international spotlight on the competence of our Canadian Prime Minister. Today we're taking a look at India, yet again, is still bashing Trudeau, which maybe some people are upset about it. They would call it some sort of foreign interference, like, hey, it's not right for other countries to bash our leader, but I'm here for it. I've got some videos pulled up and I hope that you're ready to watch this. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Obviously, today we're taking a look at India just totally destroy Justin Trudeau, another fan favorite. Before I get into it, I want to encourage you to give a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already. Really helps grow the channel. We're on route to 400,000 subscribers, which should pretty much almost be 1% of Canada's population, which is massive. And I want to thank you for entrusting me with delivering you the best news here in Canada. As well as I hope you consider turning post notifications on. It adds a layer of insurance to make sure you get notified. I know I say it in every single video, but we're fighting Justin Trudeau suppression. We're fighting YouTube suppression. We're fighting government suppression. There's a whole lot of things that we're up against here. So please consider turning the bell notification on. And if you haven't already gotten one, I highly recommend I Did Not See That Coming sticker. Link is down in the description or the pinned comment below. Without further ado, let's get into this awesome video here.
And now let's talk about Canada. Justin Trudeau is having a rough time. The criticism is mounting. He's facing it not just in Parliament, but also on the streets of Canada. You have to look at this.
Criminal!
Thank you for everything you did.
Look at this freaking buck tee, bro. Look at this buck tee.
Hi. Pleasure to see you as well. Hey there, how
I'm
you
not
doing?
shaking your hand, bro. You're a fucking piece of shit, man.
Why is that, sir?
You f***ed up the entire country. You got
How did I mess up this?
You messed up this country. It's true.
Refused to shake his hand. Trudeau just cannot catch a break. This video has gone viral on social media. And in the real world too, Justin Trudeau is getting no relief. 2 weeks after his outburst, his team is busy pacifying India. This week, we witnessed a shift. Justin Trudeau changed his tone. He said he's not looking to escalate. His foreign minister did the same. She sought to engage with India, but privately. The hope was that this will reduce tensions. But India remains firm, and it is saying two things. Show us the proof and take your diplomats out of here. 41 of them. They've been asked to leave India, and they are leaving. The deadline is October 10, so less than 5 days to go. A new report says the Canadians have started leaving India. We don't have the numbers, but we're told most diplomats stationed outside Delhi have left. How many missions does Canada have in India? There's a High Commission in New Delhi and 3 consulates in Bengaluru, Chandigarh and Mumbai. Now, reports say the consulate staff has mostly left, a majority of them. That's what the Canadian press is saying. They're heading to 2 countries, Malaysia and Singapore. And more departures are expected in the days ahead. That's because India has asked for parity. India has 21 diplomats in Canada, but Canada had 62 diplomats in India. So for them to achieve parity, Ottawa will have to remove 41 of its people. Now, we cannot say if they will remove 41, but it's evident that they are reducing their strength. How will this impact the visa process? Obviously, it won't be business as usual. If you already have a visa, there's no reason for you to worry, you can travel. If you're applying or have applied, the waiting time may be longer. There's a lot of conversation around this. Also, a lot of advice on what to do and what not to do. Some experts say you can travel to a third country and apply for a visa from there. You have to be really desperate to do that, though. Canada is yet to share any contingency plans. Canadian universities are monitoring the situation closely. A new semester is about to begin. The students are worried.
And there's so many Indian students here in Canada. And all of these tensions could have been so avoided if Justin Trudeau wasn't a monster. If he had a peanut up here in his head instead of the empty air that exists. Trudeau jumped the gun and started a cultural little political war with an entire country of India. Billions of people. Well, 1.2 or 1.3 billion. Might as well round it up to billions because there's so many more people there, so many more resources. And you have the mainstream media just completely destroying Trudeau. So now you have millions, hundreds of millions, if not a billion plus people that are watching mainstream media in India going, wow, Canada's messed up. Hey, we have family and friends there. Why would they want to live there? They should come back before they get trapped in Canada, because Canada is a totalitarian country with a communist dictator as the leader, Justin Trudeau. So it's not good. It's not good for global affairs. It's not good for global relations. And also, the free trade agreement is still on pause because Justin Trudeau is egotistical. Like, I'm not sure. But I don't think that any other prime minister in their right mind would have created this amount of tensions unnecessarily with a massive country like India. Like, we don't have anything to gain from this. And we've picked up a lot recently, a lot of Indian viewers. And so I'd love to pass the question off to the Indians who are watching this. How do you feel about this? Do you dislike Justin Trudeau just as much as Canadians do? Because we really don't like Trudeau. So I'd love to know from everyone, never mind just from people from India or Indians. How about everybody? Let me know down in the comments how much you dislike Justin Trudeau. Let's get the comments rolling on this video. I've got another video here from mainstream media in India. It just breaks my heart that Canada's become this global laughing stock. I mean, America had that crown for the longest time, and they still, to a certain extent, do. But I feel like we're kind of fighting America for who's the biggest class clown. And if it's Justin Trudeau or Joe Biden, I think Trudeau wins, unfortunately.
Have more information that's now coming in, and India has made it very, very clear that we are not going to take these kind of allegations lying down, especially considering Canada is yet to give any proof of the allegations that they've been making. A government source is now telling us exactly why India is upset with Canada. There are specifically 4 reasons that have now been put out. This, of course, has been conveyed to the Canadian side, which prompted the Canadian minister yesterday to come out and say that let's talk about this in private. In fact, it was Canada who made a public statement first, but now that they realize that India is not going to take this lying down and we are going to give it back to them in equal measure, Canada is now seeking private talks with us. Abhishek continues to be with us here on this broadcast. Abhishek, there are several reasons why India is upset with Canada, and those reasons have been made very, very clear to them. There are 4 specifically, including, of course, the fact that pro-Khalistani sympathizers there are being sheltered. They're, in fact, even allowed to flourish there because there's absolutely no action against them.
Well, we have seen these same elements who have been branded as anti-India by the Indian government, who have been involved in terrorist and criminal activities from the soil of Canada, and they have been having some sort of nexus also with people in Punjab. But the Canadian authorities have been reluctant to act against them. And now the latest situation has been that the Canadian, ever since this diplomatic row has erupted between the two sides and India, kind of took very aggressive measures by issuing advice to people, stopping visa applications for the Canadian citizens coming to India, and asking also for the diplomatic strength and rank to be paired with the number of Indian diplomats present in Canada. So since then, the sense that the Canadian government is trying to do has been that they want to, constructively engage and have some sort of dialogue with India, because the diplomatic presence in India is very necessary to cooperate and to facilitate various and thousands of families, the Canadian families in India, Canadians who have been living in India, and also other multi-dimension of bilateral relationships that also should not be impacted.
So an important thing to note here is the Khalistan flag right there, which I'm not going to get into the details of Indian politics because I'm not that familiar with it, and I would hate to come across as not knowledgeable in something and trying to fake that. I'm not very familiar in Indian politics, so just bear with me. But from my understanding, Khalistan has been labeled as extremist or terrorist groups due to a separatist mentality. And the individual that was murdered here in Canada, the leader of the Gurdwara, I'm going to butcher that name because I don't remember it off the top of my head unless I see it on the screen. He was a diehard separatist, and India had classified him as a terrorist and not a good person, obviously. So Canada is harboring, based off of those allegations and those labels, it's saying that Canada is a safe haven for other countries, terrorists or extremists to live here. If your country views you as an extremist and you have separatist views, come to Canada and you'll be safe, but I guess not given what happened. And so it's very, very concerning because it's created a ripple effect in Indian culture, Indian politics, people that live here that are Indian or know what's, have ties to everything that's kind of come together. It's very, very weird. And then there's also the fact that if India was involved in this type of assassination, allegedly, then why is it that Canadian security is so lower limited that a foreign country was able to infiltrate and pull it off? Or an even deeper question is, did Canada know about it and give him the green light to do that? There's just so many questions and so little transparency. But for Trudeau to have come out and make these accusations publicly, especially after just returning from India and being hosted there, it seems like he's stabbing India in the back. He's giving the middle finger to the Indian government. It's not a good look. It's not a good look, which is why you're seeing so much mainstream media in India just obliterate Justin Trudeau, because people are fed up. People are fed up with Trudeau and his totalitarian views and the way he presents himself. Not just here in Canada, not just in America, but now you're seeing India is like, hell no, man, we don't like this guy. So it's good to see that we're getting some sort of confirmation bias from people around the world and other countries and other news stations, because here in Canada, we've been gaslit so much that, myself included, sometimes I feel like, oh, am I crazy? Am I like a right-wing, crazy conspiracy theorist for disliking the government and being opposed to this? But then I'm reminded through the community and through just listening to my own thoughts, no, this is really happening. They're gaslighting us, and it takes a toll on you mentally over time. So it's great to see mainstream media from other countries standing up to Justin Trudeau to a certain extent, and just not having a filter. It's very necessary, if I'm being totally honest.
While being asked by, several of journalists asked Melina Joly, the Foreign Minister of Canada, how are they,
And there it is on screen, safe haven for terrorists and extremists.
To leave Delhi. She said that I've been talking regularly on the issue, but some decisions...
Why is India upset with Trudeau? Number 3 is role in Punjab politics. Canada has no place to involve Justin Trudeau's self or ourselves, our culture, and using our resources to involve ourselves in Canadian politics. Now, India has involved themselves because we have pissed them off. It's kind of like if you punch somebody, well, do they have legal grounds to hit you back? Is it self-defense? Probably, likely, depending on the circumstances. And in this instance, yes, India has every right to be this forward about and almost aggressive about their hatred and disgust for Justin Trudeau, because he's caused a massive, massive ripple effect. And if we had a terrorist who hated Canada, who we knew was some sort of notorious person living in another country safely, I'm sure that would piss off a lot of Canadians too. Wouldn't you agree? And I'd love to know if you agree with that statement or don't agree with that statement down below in the comments.
Some conversations are best done in private. So this is what they have been saying, that they are not going to comment on the issue of diplomatic row publicly, and they have been in touch with the Indian government on the entire episode.
Right.
And it looks like the Canadian side is kind of trying to scale down the entire episode.
All right, Abhishek, do stay on with me. Senior fellow of the ORF, Sushant Sareen.
Yeah, India has no filter, and they just let it all out, and I am here for it. And in more updated news, Canada has been given 5 days, as of just recently, to reduce diplomatic staff in India, and the majority so far have already been evacuated.
Was even going to get up and say what he did. Bob Fife is the Ottawa bureau chief for the Globe and Mail. Hi, Bob. Good to see you. This just keeps getting bigger and bigger when it comes to the diplomatic rift between these two countries.
Yeah, it's a very, very serious rift. the government came out with what were explosive allegations. The Prime Minister doing it, not another minister, but the Prime Minister saying this. This got the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi really upset, and now we're into a full-fledged diplomatic war with India, not so much on our part, but certainly from the Indian point of view. And he's also getting ready for an election campaign, which plays well for him. But this is it's got a serious issue here, particularly for the business community. Free trade agreement that we were hoping to have perhaps inked by the end of the year is now off the table. And, we were supposed to lead a very important high-level Team Canada business trip to India on October the 9th, the day before.
How ironic.
How ironic. And that's been canceled. And, now India is saying, you've got to pull out all of these diplomats out of India, which is a significant thing because we have a high commission in New Delhi, but we also have 3 consulate offices and 4 trade offices, and all of these people outside of the high commission in Delhi are now being pulled out. So what does this mean? Well, if you're trying to do business in India, it means
effects.
you are in trouble.
Yeah.
It also means that if you're a business person wanting to go to India, you can't get a visa. And on the other side, because we don't have, we're going to have few people in our High Commission office, who is going to, if you're an Indian student or an Indian businessman wanting to come to Canada or even a tourist, who's going to give you a visa? That's a very serious issue.
And I mean, it's my understanding is that's the argument that the government is making behind the scenes to the Indian government, right? We have a sizable relationship that does exist already prior to even talks of amplifying that relationship through a formal trade agreement. There's a number of international students that want to come back and forth. Yeah, a really large number. And even the logistics, I was speaking to some of the diplomats who had actually been evacuated, 2 of them who were genuinely concerned for their safety. My understanding is in Delhi, if you're located there, you have diplomatic immunity, but outside, you likely would not. And so that's part of the reason why they were evacuated.
Well, if you were a Canadian diplomat at a consulate, you would have diplomatic immunity. But if you were, say, a provincial trade official, you may not have that. And the problem is that the Modi government has been riling up the media, making all kinds of outrageous accusations that, Prime Minister and the Hardeep Najjar
Had a love affair?
were in a gay relationship. They found cocaine on the Prime Minister's plane. And they're really riling up Indians against the Canadian government. And that endangers the lives of people who are serving there. Now, one would hope that the government does have contingency plans in place, and if you need a visa, maybe.
Okay, but that's hypocritical for him to say that, because if that's the case, then Justin Trudeau making the allegations that he did endangers the lives of Indians living here. If he's accusing the Indian government of assassinating him and saying that there's credible information from the investigation bureau here in Canada, like CSIS or whatever the hell he's claiming, then that means that we would just kind of turn on each other and say to any Indian living here, are you part of it? Did you do it? Did you do it? And so Justin Trudeau is fueling hatred here in Canada. So for him to make the accusation that India is fueling hatred over there in India and endangering the lives of Canadians, Trudeau has done the same thing here in Canada. Now, it's not a matter of right versus wrong. It's a matter of tit for tat. That's politics, baby. Welcome to the game. And if Justin Trudeau was smart enough not to do that, then we wouldn't be in this situation. So you can't blame India for retaliating with these allegations, even if they're extremely wild or not. I do kind of like it because it makes great content. And also it has a lot of confirmation bias, such as having a gay secret lover. I mean, come on, man. We all kind of have a hunch that Justin Trudeau is part of his Wi-Fi password, 2SLGBTQQLI+, whatever it is. And so you can't just blame India. So I really disagree with the person who was just on CTV there from the Globe and Mail. I think that you should be pointing less fingers at the Indian government and more fingers at Justin Trudeau and have accountability where it is needed and where it began with Trudeau and his wild accusations. But I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments about any of the topics that I've covered. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already. It really helps grow the channel, as well as a final reminder that I did not see that coming. Stickers are linked down in the description or the pinned comment below. I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.